When March rolled around in 2020, Mayor Barett had a lot to look forward to. Milwaukee was preparing for 50,000 summer visitors at the Democratic National Convention. But there was something else on the mayor's mind, and it wasn't the virus just yet.
I remember having a press conference talking about the regular flu.
Flu cases were lingering, but a much bigger issue was looming in Seattle, Washington, with coronavirus cases and people dying. The mayor knew it would only be a matter of time before COVID-19 arrived here.
Perhaps fittingly, it was March 13th, which was a Friday the 13th, when we had our first case. And I thought, okay, this is a problem.
No one knew just how big of a problem. The mayor convened a group of hospital administrators, healthcare professionals, and community clinics to talk about the coming crisis.
And one person in that meeting really stood out, and that was Dr. John Raymond from the medical college. And I was taken aback by how seriously he took this at that second.
Dr. Raymond would become Milwaukee's Dr. Fauci, the go-to guy on everything pandemic.
And even in that room, he said, we should not be sitting this close to each other. We should not be doing this. And I thought, wow.
It was the first conversation about what we would all learn to know as the importance of social distancing. So at what point, Mayor, are you thinking, though, I now have to make tough decisions, and decisions I'm going to make, not everyone's going to like?
Well, that weekend, I can remember the conversation I had with our head librarian, Paula Kiley, who has since retired.
The conversation was around closings, and it was happening all over the city.
I'm thinking, I don't want the libraries closed for 2 weeks because it could end up being 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I never dreamed it would be a year.
There would be more closings as the economic and emotional hardship deepened. Was there one decision that you said was the hardest, or you look back as the hardest decision?
I would say that first time we said that the bars and restaurants had to be closed, because it was basically unprecedented in my career to say we're closing everything down. But it was the right decision. Without a doubt, it was the right decision.
COVID-19 was not only changing everyone's way of life by mid-March, it was also hitting communities of color at an alarming rate.
One of the key points was when I first saw the numbers, and the first set of numbers came out of a neighborhood in the Sherman Park area where I saw that this was having an incredible disproportionate impact on African Americans at that time.
The disparities were not new to a city that declared racism a public health crisis a year earlier.
That was, I think, another clarion call that we have to make sure that we are getting the resources to those populations that are most disproportionately impacted. And that continues to this day. We've got issues with vaccinations.
With vaccinations, Barett hopes normalcy will return. The 67-year-old mayor qualified for the shots and is now fully vaccinated.
The sun is shining. I mean, I'm an optimist by nature, and we're going to get through this.